October 22nd at approximately 2:20 p.m. God's time, 6:20 p.m. UTC for our Euros across the pond. Today, we have with us Trader Main from Breakout, and of course, our favorite in-house Vaultard, Marty, the one-man party. What's up, Main?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Of course,
How's it
thanks for
going,
coming
man?
on. I know we had some tech issues in the background, but now we're so back.
Yeah,
So
I'm
bro.
over 30, so everyone's aware I don't know how to use computers anymore.
Yeah. That's true. Once you hit 30, it's all downhill from there, technology
Bro, I
wise. You
can't
have
play
to have
video
kids.
games anymore. Like, it's just everything's falling apart.
Yeah. I'm getting old when the sports teams are cycling through rosters and it's nobody that I know anymore. That's when I know I'm definitely old.
Yeah, that's what hit me the hardest when I thought it'd only been a couple years, and I go back and I look at a sports team that used to watch, and it's like I don't know anybody on the roster.
Dude, the
But like I
guys who I know are broadcasting now. Like, they're
exactly,
Oh
broadcasting the
God.
game. And they're like, oh, this guy's a veteran. He's super old. He's like 36. I'm like, oh, fuck.
It's all downhill from here. Well, for the people who don't know you, Maine, you want to give us a quick intro before we get into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Trader Main. I've been on crypto Twitter pretty much since 2016, super consistently. I did make my account in that first 2013-14 bull run, but I got absolutely hosed, and so I deleted the app shortly after. But then I came back 2016-17 after spending a few years kind of in TradFi markets, learning how to trade FX and things like that, options trading, and got back into crypto for that 2017 bull run. And kind of been doing that ever since. Been on Twitter, on YouTube for many years now. And then a couple years ago, myself and Crypto Cred and Ape Trade, we started Breakout, which is a prop firm specifically for the crypto markets. And we sold it to Kraken. We just finished that deal about a month ago. So I got about a month of glory before Kobe just came and nuked on my head.
Yeah.
crazy work.
Kobe was trying to not say that he was a billionaire, and then he closed a
Had to
$400 million deal the next day.
Yeah, I mean, pretty sick.
Yeah. Thank you, Kobe, for dunking on all of us. For the people who don't know Breakout, you want to cover a little bit about Breakout. I know that it's a crypto focused, and I know that Kraken was on a M&A spree. They had bought NinjaTrader, then they bought you guys. Is there anything you could share that wasn't publicly disclosed? Like, I'm more curious on if you approached them or if they had approached you.
So I'll just give a quick high level what the business does, and we can get into that. Like, for those that don't know, prop trading is not something new. There's kind of more of a traditional prop model where you go to New York, you go to London, maybe you're in Toronto, and you're trading at prop desk. So you're actually working at a firm, and they're providing you with tools, with capital, all of this stuff. And this model kind of evolved online several years ago. And there's a few really big companies in the TradFi space, Top Step, FTMO, who have been doing this for almost a decade now, where effectively you can be anybody and you can go on their website and you take a test. And if you pass the test, they'll fund you with capital. There's certain rules kind of within the or the sandbox, you got to play within. You can only lose a certain amount of money before they cut you off. There's a small profit split. But I mean, at least with us, really, that's it. We're not like some of these other firms who have all these weird, crazy rules so they can avoid paying people out. So I really saw the space blow up over the last handful of years. All of these people were launching prop firms. I was like, okay, what's going on here? Is there a reason why people are doing this? And then second question was, has anyone done this for crypto? And I did some research and I was like, okay, it doesn't seem like there's a good option for crypto where it's like good spreads, good coins, new listings, modern-ish terminal that crypto, it's not MetaTrader or something that a crypto trader is not going to want to or have any experience using. So we decided to build it. So I reached out to some of the people who are a lot smarter than me, help put this thing together. And it's been kind of a whirlwind. I mean, we launched and were acquired within 19 months. We had a lot of interest from a lot of different parties, exchanges, private equity, things like that. So we were fielding acquisition offers within 6 months of launching the business. And I think one of the biggest reasons Kraken and us ended up working together, when I launched this company, I looked at my co-founder, I said, the perfect person to buy this is a centralized exchange. because anyone who trades on Breakout is a future customer of a centralized exchange. We're kind of an in-between step is the way I like to describe it. You're not paper trading. You have skin in the game. There's real money at risk. You can actually make money, but you're not quite ready to maybe put your entire paycheck on Bybit, Kraken, Binance, Hyperliquid, wherever you're trading, and nuke it, and then you're like, okay, shit, now I'm all out of money. So we act as kind of a really good learning ground to practice trading with actual money on the line, and then scale your trading as well, because we have accounts up to 200K. With leverage, you can open up a $1 million Bitcoin position, and you put less than $1,500 down to actually start the process. So it's just another avenue to trade. And what Kraken is trying to do is get very wide. They want to kind of be the backbone of the future of finance, right? They want to offer everything, not just spot, derivatives, options, prop trading, banking services, US futures, anything and everything you can imagine. You're going to be able to trade at these companies like Kraken. And so we kind of just slot into one of those silos, and we're a really good funnel for future Kraken customers, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's easy. And maybe you get some, free F1 access to the Williams race team.
I won't say no. I got a hat, so that's a start.
Okay, now you just need a ticket. I had a big sex reach out to me and go to one of the Sao Paulo events in F1 because we're in Brazil, and it's me and my wife. I already had tickets right there at the finish line, start line, and they were like, "Oh, come over to the paddock. We'll give you the tour." And I was like, "Oh, can my wife come too?" They're like, "No, she has to stay in her seat, but you can come." I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna leave my wife at the F1 for 5 hours. They had the historical cars, they had the Porsche Cup, and then I think they even had some F3 and then F1 race at the end of the day. It was I was laughing. I still laugh about it to this day. I'm like, I'm not leaving my wife in the seats for. She hates racing, by the way. For the
She's
whole
there
day.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a good experience. The Sao Paulo track's a little old. It's not as connected as the other ones. Like you can't walk around like a stadium. You're still just locked into your little area. But it's racing. Lewis Hamilton loves Brazil. It was quite the show for sure.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of the F1 races. They're a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, can never beat the pinnacle of racing. I think I want to get a little bit into more of the breakout. You had 19 months to be fully acquired. That's definitely a quick exit. You still hold your position. You got the best of both worlds. But did you have any big challenges that you faced?
Yeah, I mean, number one, I think when you're even just getting into business, it's so different than what we do. Like I'd been trading full time for several years leading up to starting this company. I ran a recruitment company before I got full time in crypto. So I had I've worked in businesses, I started a business, but nothing to the scale of what Breakout is, where we have, 50 plus employees. Like it was a culture shock. Like I went from I don't want to trade today, so I'm going to just sleep in and do whatever I want, to I have calls every single day, every single morning. And it's not like something to complain. It's just different than trading. It's more regimented in a different kind of way that I wasn't used to, or I at least hadn't been used to in a long time. That was a big culture shock. And then it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work, and it's much more of a delayed gratification than trading, where you can be in and out in a session and you're like, okay, did I do good today? You can look at the data and objectively be like, yes, I had a good day trading, or no, I did not. Where with something like this, you're working towards a much bigger kind of nebulous goal at the beginning, where, at the start, it's what the hell are we even doing? I mean, we launched this thing. I consider myself to have a pretty good rep online. So does Crypto Cred and Abe Trade. I haven't scammed anyone that I'm aware of. And everyone told me we were scammers. When we announced, oh, you guys are fucking scammers now. Wow, way to sell out. I'm like, what are you talking about? First of all, I'm making less money than I was trading. It's way more work. I self-funded the business. I don't understand the scam. But I learned once we exited, Twitter, you can just ignore them. So that was a big challenge. It's just a whole different beast running a business. And on the acquisition side, you're like giving up your baby in a way where it's like, okay, like, yes, we're still involved with the company, but at some point I won't be. And, I no longer own it. And that's a weird kind of process to go through as well. The whole acquisition, I've never done anything like that. It's like getting audited. But at least at the end of the audit, you get money instead of sending money to the IRS or something. So that part of it's nice. But yeah, it was a bit of an invasive process, but I mean, it was an unbelievable learning experience. And, if anyone is even considering building anything, I would say do it. Like, you're going to learn a lot, even if it's not successful.
Well, now
I've
that
given
that
you guys
you
a lot of props over the last few months since the acquisition announcement, specifically because of that. I remember all the hate that you and Cred were getting out of nowhere because people didn't really understand what Breakout was, and they're like, "Oh, their fees are high. They take too much of a rake." Like, or literally anything they could come up with to bash what you all were doing. And exactly what you had said, you just got to ignore all the noise on Twitter. Is kind of what I alluded to. I said, these guys put their all into a new product, continue to grind it out, ignored everyone talking shit, and less than 2 years later, they're getting acquired by Kraken. Just shows you what believing in yourself and kind of believing in the product you're building can really do.
Yeah. Twitter is just like a cesspool of misinformation and like not very smart, well thought out opinions. And I used to give it a lot more weight than I do now. Like, I used to be concerned about like, what do people think of me online? Now I'm like, I don't care at all. So that's been a good experience as well.
I got a good one. Just don't read the comments.
Yeah, actually, Cred
That's like a
taught me
good
that.
start.
You post and then you mute your thread. Like, you just mute the post.
All right, just don't even check the comments. Like, unless it's like positive, like sure, then you want to engage with people. You want to keep a good community for sure. But like, just like people that are just like rage baiting, you're like, just don't feed the beast. It only gets worse. I think Cozy said it best. Like, if I engage with this guy, it will be the most engagement or the biggest account that he's engaged with ever. It's like the guy with 10 followers is usually the guy that's hating
Yeah, like
the
some
most.
of our friends will send us in a group chat like, "Oh, this guy's trying to like, pick a fight with you on Twitter." And I just like look at their account and I'm like, "Dude, if I even respond, it's the most engagement they're going to get in the last year. Like, why even
Yeah, you have
why
nothing to
even
gain,
respond?"
everything to lose.
Yeah. Is it public what the buyout was for the breakout? Can we disclose this,
So, I mean, I
or
wish I
we
could.
just say it's less than Kobe?
It's less than Kobe, but it was. We're very happy with the result, and it was a significant acquisition for Kraken. There's certain rules that you have to comply with to actually release the number, which I thought is very strange. I didn't know, but basically we would have had to go through this additional due diligence process with some regulatory body in America to actually get the exact number, because we are basically right above this threshold that requires this application. It would have just delayed the process about a month. So they're like, do you care? We're like, not really. Kraken is going to go public eventually here. So at that point, that number will become public.
Good to know. I think that was the most asked question that I got asked behind closed doors. Of course, they want to know. They want to know the number. To pivot a little bit into the market, we've seen you be a good day trader, and you know how I know that the acquisition was good? You just put the largest sports bet on that you had done publicly. That's how you know the merger was good for you guys. So shout out to you guys there.
And we won. Let's go Jays.
Barely. I was watching the game and I was like, Canadians don't even know shit about baseball. Like, you're gonna bet against the American
That
team,
was
and
the
then
sweat. Now we're gonna get.
and then
sweat
you guys
by
came
Shohei
back.
Ohtani.
Oh, that was great. That was great. To get into the market cycles, we're having this discussion behind closed doors on Twitter, taking different polls. Like, do you think we're in this 4-year cycle that we've always had, where the halving comes, there's a supply shock, spot goes up, price goes up, and then it's kind of over in 4 years? Or do you think that's kind of shifted after the ETF origins last year?
So I've always been in the camp of like, first, I'm going to assume things stay the same until I'm proven otherwise. Like, there's very little upside in trying to guess if the way that it's worked every single time is not going to work this time, because we had the same argument last cycle. The 4-year cycle is dead. This is the super cycle. I was around in 2017, 2018. The same conversations were had. The 4-year cycle is dead. I also think the 4-year cycle is something that goes beyond Twitter and crypto. It's this 4-year business liquidity cycle. There is a 4-year cycle within stocks. There is the 4-year cycle within presidential elections and kind of macro economic headwinds due to the party in power in America that's been going on since as long as I can remember. I mean, if you go back to like 1950 in the S&P, every 4 years there's a cycle low, basically. Not every time it's exactly 4 years, but pretty close. And so like this idea that like the 4-year cycle is like this crypto specific thing, I'm like, it just happens to line up with the halving. I think that's a much more realistic outcome, that crypto is just like any other asset. It goes through these cycles, and this cycle just happens to line up with the halving. So I'm going to assume it's the same. I think a much more plausible outcome from the ETFs and this new market structure we has is that we have a much more truncated bear market. We're not going to see Bitcoin go down 85%. Like I would, let's say we go to 150K, then Bitcoin bottoms at 70K, like a 50% pullback versus, 80. That to me seems more realistic than up only to the right forever. Even though that is what the stock market does, there still are these cycles.
Yeah. I think if Bitcoin hits that 60K range, 60, 70K range, that's where Saylor has his big bulk, and he ended up coming around and round tripping that whole bag, like the fucking shareholders are not going to be happy, right? We have bigger problems if Bitcoin is 60K. I'm kind of happy with it in this 100K range. I'm not very happy with it going up $10,000 in 2 hours and back down $10,000 over the next 8 or 9 hours. That this is a straight fuckery. I'm always happy to do it and happy to trade it and put up liquidity on the option side when we're not in an absolute free fall. But I don't think retail or breakout traders, no pun intended, were prepared for that absolute nuke right back down.
So one of the interesting things about being on the back end of breakout is I get to see trader behavior, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get this interesting insights into like thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of traders. They just long. Like that's all anyone does. They just long all the time, no matter what. Our book is very much long skewed. We have some very sharp traders, and it's funny. I mean, our data is, I would say, plots very well against those kind of old trading adages. Most people lose money. Like that is the reality of trading. And then a very select group of people make a ton of money. And our book reflects that very well. Like we have some really sharp guys who are consistently taking out mid 5 figures, sometimes even 6 figures a month from the firm. And then we have a lot of other traders who are just like buying an evaluation and they're just flipping a coin. Like they're going full port long, they pass the evaluation, they try and do it again. And I mean, that's okay. I mean, we're an avenue where you can speculate that way if you want to. You know exactly the cost going into it, and it's a bet effectively that these people are making. And this leads me to an interesting question for you, because you're in deep with the options here. What do you think about things like Polymarket and Kalshi and these prediction markets, where effectively you're getting kind of like, it's almost binary options, is it not?
Yeah. Now with the new product they just announced, it kind of is. Now that you have the 15-minute it will Bitcoin go up markets.
There was a team, I want to say it was on Arbitrum, I think it was called Buffer Finance. They're like blueberries, like their avatars. Yep. It's like a couple years ago. They were doing this like up or down 5 minutes, and it was just straight, degenerate gambling. Of course, nobody really you don't have an edge there, in 5 minutes. I think the edge where you have prediction markets versus the options market, and I think that who was it? Horseman, Mr. Clark, posted about it. Like you have these odd payoffs. Will it be above X price on X date? And it doesn't match what the options, what the smart, the sharp players are predicting. So if you want to look into that for some alpha or some arb. I'll leave our listeners to that, but there is some edge there in market making, prediction markets, or arbing prediction versus Deribit or any of the DeFi guys.
Is
There's
it 'cause
even
there's,
some.
like, no Greeks involved? Like there's not time decay and stuff like that?
Yeah, it just depends. Like, I think the one that he was looking at, I don't know, it was like over 120K or something like this in December. It was like way off. You could have bought on one and sold on the other, and you could have made some spread. I think we're just still in like the early days of prediction markets, and you used to see this in spot markets where you have like spot arbs. You used to see this in perps, where there's a huge perp difference. You saw it in options. You still kind of do, where there's things like fees involved. There's things like the Greeks involved. There's we get preferential fees. We have a server that's co-located. We have faster processing trades than other traders, and not necessarily that we can front run them, but we can pick off other people that are posting slower quotes on, let's say, OKX and Bybit, or Bybit and Deribit. So you're just seeing like the markets at work. And when there's not one market with all of the liquidity and there's fragmented liquidity, there's pennies to pick up, and it's less risky than buying just outright calls or outright perps. 1,000. What is Rollbit doing? 1,000x leverage or something, like instead of trading directionally. There's still pennies to pick up, but I think that retail doesn't want to pick up pennies. Obviously, they want to hit the next 1,000x. They want to hit the next $1 to $10 billion, and overnight. Of course, nobody wants to actually put in any work and pick up pennies for a month or 6 months. And that's kind of where our edge is. We're still a small team. We can play in these pools that even like the big options makers don't want to come and make. That's kind of where our edge lays. And it would be interesting to see like we don't know which one is the official partner of the NHL, but today both Kalshi and Polymarket announced that they're both official partners, the official partner of the NHL. So it's like, when you have this fragmented liquidity, you probably can still even arb Kalshi and Polymarket.
Yeah.
Even if it's for a couple pennies. You probably can click trade it even. You don't even need API access.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, I tell people like this all the time on my streams, like money in trading, at least for me, like, yes, I've had big wins and I've gotten lucky. That's what I consider a lot of my big wins are, where like you long something and it just goes up a lot more than you were expecting. And obviously as you size up, you can make more money at a time, but like, it's compounding small wins. Like, to use a baseball analogy, it's singles. Like, that's what wins the game, is like base hits. And then you occasionally get a grand slam. And I think this cycle specifically, this was present in all cycles, but this one specifically with Pump Fund, people got like disillusioned with this idea, to your point, of being like, I'm going to buy the meme coin that goes to billions. It's like, you're probably not, though. And it just seems like it's such a low odds game, because not only do you probably not have the skill, and there's probably, inside information cabals who are bundling the coins, and all the coins that do well have all the same people buying them. But also the odds of any of these coins going to $1 billion is infinitesimal. Like, you're playing such a small pool trying to hit this home run. And then furthermore, these people who make it big on a meme coin, a lot of them lose all their money because they didn't have it. Like, they got lucky, and then they try and replicate that luck, and they end up just kind of pissing it away time and time again. But no one wants to hear that, right? Like, it's a lot more of an interesting message now that the market's become a lot more difficult to trade over the last little bit. But early on in the cycle, when I was telling people about this stuff, they're like, dude, fuck you. Like, I'm in the Pump Fund trenches.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna
like the bonk guy, dude. That was even pre-pump. The bonk guy, wasn't he up like 10 million? It's like, dude, just change your fucking life. Just log out. Like, just leave. And then he's like held it to 0 5 times.
Yeah. And then got liquidated on October 10th. Like, he got licked on that perps position, which is insane. I don't think people,
it doesn't work for the exchange.
Yeah, like yeah, maybe. True. But I don't understand. I don't think people respect money when they make it that way. And then so when they lose it, it's like, oh, you could have never worked again. Like, do you realize that? Like, the whole, like, how much do you need to retire? 10 million is enough. Like, it absolutely is enough.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
Yeah, and fucking 5 million. If you have any amount of millions and it's like life changing, you should change your life. But no one wants to hear that in the heat of it.
Even if
And
you
then
have 100 grand, you make 50, let's say, and you work a fucking Starbucks job, dude. That's like 2-3 years of work in a Western world, let alone like let's say Brazil, where
Thailand or something,
minimum
yeah.
wage is $200 a month. Like, and you make 10 grand, like that's it. Just fucking log out forever. Like, there's a Dana White clip. He's like, you brought $1,000 to the casino and you walk and you have 2,000 now, just leave. Like, you're not
know.
going to run it up. The odds of you of running it up are very, very low. I know we're a little tight on time, but personally, I wanted
all
to
good,
know about your sports betting strategy because your size is going up. Don't start aping on us, okay? But I do appreciate that you post it publicly. I think it's good for people to see when you lose and win. It's great.
So for me, my strategy is not a good one in that I bet with my heart. Like I bet on the teams that I want to win, which is like 101. Do not do that for sports betting. Like I'm Canadian. The Blue Jays are the only Canadian team in the MLB. I want them to win. I want them to win the World Series. They are likely going to get destroyed by Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. I will bet on the Blue Jays for every single game.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So if you're looking for sports betting alpha, I'm not really the guy. Basketball and hockey, I understand the sports well enough that I can make like some type of, sharp bets. Like, okay, I know this player is good gets a lot of shots on goal. Like, he's due for a goal, that kind of stuff. But a lot of these other sports where I'm just betting the money line, I'm literally betting on the team I want to win.
I love it. I love it. I have some edge in UFC because that's the only sport that I actually follow and pay attention to. But besides that, I always just bet with the heart, even if it's $10 parlay that's going to turn into
That's what makes it fun.
$50 million or whatever. I'm always shooting for the stars. Yeah, that's what makes it fun though.
That's what makes it fun. Like I can watch a UFC event where I don't give a fuck about any of the fights, but I've got $1,000 parlay on that could pay off 150 grand if I pick 7 in a row. I'm watching that entire event.
That's what makes it good. Oh yeah. It's great. Let's wrap it up. I know you're a trader at heart. It's in the name, but are you trading spot, perps, options, dated futures? What's your go-to? And are you just trading directionally, or you're hedging some positions out? Kind of how are you playing the markets when we're whipsawing, up and down 5K a day?
So when I started this account, I actually was crypto main initially, and then I was like, damn, I don't want to pigeonhole myself just to crypto. Like, I'll trade other markets. And back in the day, I used to trade a lot more TradFi. So I was actively trading gold and silver. I was actively trading, ES and NASDAQ futures. I used to do this like entire video series called Metals with Maine, like for multiple times a week. I'd post about gold silver ratio, confluence with the dollar. I did a lot of FX stuff. But crypto when crypto runs, there's just nothing else comparable, like even remotely so.
Yeah.
So I just and that's all people really want to hear on Twitter too, right? Like no one really gives a shit if you post like thought. No one gives a shit about gold until now. Like I used to post about gold when it was like $1,000 and no one cared. And then oh my God, it ran to 2,000. Like, isn't this crazy? No one cares. Bitcoin went up 20x in the same time period. But now that gold people are lining up outside to pick gold, people are like, man, you should bring back your gold series. So I primarily am a spot holder of Bitcoin. That's like my main stack. That's the majority of my crypto net worth. It's just in Bitcoin. It's very boring. People ask me, what alts do you hold? Like none. Like because of what you saw on October 10th, like I learned that already years ago. Like most of these alts are vapor. They, over a long enough time period, they go to zero. They are definitely going to
zero.
They
literally went to zero. On Binance, they did go to zero. In the spot market too, not even on the perp market.
That's just that wick will eventually get filled by most of these coins, and it will absolutely go to zero versus Bitcoin. Like I'm a believer in Bitcoin. I think that's the only coin really worth holding long term. Maybe you can make an argument for ETH or Solana or some other bullshit, but I really think all forms of trading in crypto for me, whether I'm leverage trading or otherwise, are with the purpose of either getting more money or more Bitcoin. That's it. It's very boring. It's not sexy. It's not on trend. But it's allowed me to build wealth cycle over cycle, buying relatively near the lows, using altcoins when the opportunities are available to simply get more Bitcoin, and then sell some of that Bitcoin near the highs and repeat the process. And that's why I'm still here after almost 10 years. And, some people aren't. And that's just kind of what's worked for me.
Yeah, I just want to put it on the record. Solana is not going to change the world. ETH has an argument, and Bitcoin's here to stay. That's kind of where I stand on those three. I don't even have Sol on a watch list anymore. I took it off. Once Sol was down like 5 times in a week, I just took it off. I'm sure it's been up and running for a year now, but good luck to those guys.
I mean, it's been, I would say it's been a disappointing bull run for Sol, based on how much hype and noise there was around Sol. It went from 8 to 300. I'm not saying that's not a crazy rip, but I think,
it could go higher.
Yeah, a lot of people were expecting thousands of dollars for Sol, and I think people would kill to get $500 at this point. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Bitcoin has never went to zero for me over all this time. Countries are not buying Solana. They're not buying your meme coins. They're likely going to buy Bitcoin, as with the government. So that to me is, the sole purpose. I tell everyone, I'm going to try and get one and then go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the U.S. government's buying Argentine pesos before they're buying Bitcoin. So maybe you want to, if you're thinking that, maybe you want to, think a little bit longer term. You got a little bit longer to go. Main final question: crypto rally, Santa run or not? Where's Bitcoin? Over under December?
I think
over under 115, because it just hit 115 yesterday.
I think over for sure. I'm still in the camp that Q4 ends bullish. I think this month has been a little bit disappointing. I think we've had everything set up for a bullish run here. I mean, the gold rally, if you go analyze gold generally runs about 60 to 90 days before Bitcoin over the last handful of years. So we've had that. We've had the stock market ripping. We've had the dollar dropping. Everything's been there for crypto to go. And this is outside of my depth, but perhaps what happened on October 10th still hasn't fully played out with some of these large market makers and things like this balancing their books. And you just kind of have this marginal selling that goes on because these firms that aren't supposed to be directional got directional because they got ADL'd by Binance effectively. Maybe This is fallout that we just haven't seen resolve itself yet. And that's why we're not public, because everything else, macro, the chart setup for me has been Q4 should be good. So as long as we don't start trading below 100K, on a significant high time frame, I'm going to assume that we're higher by Christmas.
Yeah, we just need the U.S. government, instead of spending $40 billion on Argentine pesos, just to announce that they're buying $40 billion of Bitcoin in the open market, and this thing will fucking send to absolute retarded highs. So if you're part of the USG and you're listening, pump our backs, please.
We've got the government that's going to open up, CPI print tomorrow, then Fed meeting, M2 is rising, tariff talks are softening. It's all leads.
It's the taco trade, dude.
Yeah, it's the taco trade. He's not going to put 100% tariff on China. It's just not going to happen. And I do think that this China-U.S. war, hopefully it remains economic and it doesn't become actual war. Maybe there's some sort of proxy war. I can see that being a very realistic reality. But what I believe we're seeing is kind of the decline of the American empire and the rise of Asia, of China specifically. And America, I still think, is the top dog. And, they've got to kind of play these games right now because China seems to be on the up. So praying that, they just send it for us one more time.
Are you related to Ray Dalio by any chance?
No. Is that what he's been saying?
Like him. Yeah, you got to. There was a more recent one, but he's always writing these books about 100-year cycles and currency declines and empire declines. But essentially, if you go look at history of China, the GDP of China in the world was always majority, but over our lifetime has been on the slump, and now they're finally coming back to reclaim what what they were. They were the largest GDP in the world for a very, very long time. So Ray Dalio is always a good macro head to listen into, chime into. But he's on a 50-year timeline.
There's a series of books about the decline of the Roman Empire, and there's a lot of facsimiles between what happened culturally and socially at the top of the Roman Empire, basically, versus what happened in America, basically, over the last couple presidencies. Where you're like, man, those things are kind of similar, because it's like comfy. It's comfy at the top, right? It's like, what can we start arguing about? Let's argue about gender. Is it even a thing? Like, let's start arguing about just like the stupidest shit ever.
Let's buy a Tesla and then put a screw Elon Musk sticker on our car. Just because he tweeted out something bad. Yeah.
But you also love the environment, but you hate Tesla now because you don't like Elon, even though he made
it. Yeah, that's why you dug up the fucking worlds for rare earth minerals to build your battery. Yeah, sure. You care about the environment. People, we can argue about that another time, Maine. I know you got to run. Thanks for jumping on, keeping it short. Dude, I think you carried the stream, dude. We always love when, the guest carries the stream and talks it out. It's always good to get people's insights.
Anytime, guys. Pleasure being on here.
Yep.
Cozy, over under 115 Christmas.
Oh,
and then we'll wrap it.
I'm a bull. I just gave you my reasonings. I listed off a few things that are culminating that will lead to upward motion. But
we heard it here first. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Maine. Thanks, everyone, for listening in. We'll be back on Friday at our usual time for Eden. And make sure you check out Breakout Trade. If you have not, it's at breakoutprop.com.